Hey guys, how you guys doing? Hope you guys doing good. Hope you guys doing great. Today I want to talk about how to enter into a different dimension. I'll explain you what I mean by different dimension and how to actually enter into that particular space or dimension when you actually look into your surroundings. So, entering into a different dimension, you need to kind of stop your thought process. I mean, literally stop your thought process. And then you can enter into a different dimension. And when you look at your surroundings, it's entirely different from what you see normally. So I'll explain you how it works. So when I enter into a different dimension, this is how I enter. So I look outside. I usually don't look into anything which makes my brain to absorb or take in the content. I usually stare at things which are less likable to absorb or take in the content. So I usually look at the nature or look at something where the consumption is less, not such as like TV or something which generates a lot of thoughts. So that's the first important point to note down to enter into a different dimension. So what I do is I usually look into the nature. I look into the water and look into the skies and look into the trees. Now remember, even when you look into the water, then the chances are that you're gonna remember how beautiful the water is. Then you're gonna remember when you were swimming or when you had good time in water and how beautiful water is, or the formula of water is H2O. So all these thoughts pop up when you actually look into the water. Now, in order for you to enter into a different dimension, you need to stop all these thoughts popping up. And the way you stop is you look at the water as if you're looking at the water for the first time. You don't know what the water is. You don't know actually what it is. You don't even know what it is. And you just stare at it. And that's how you kind of stop the thoughts which kind of pops up in your mind about the water. And if you want to go into the dimension more faster, it's better to look at the objects which there is nothing to consume, like the wall or like the fan or like something which doesn't give you a lot of thought process, right? So once you can look at something and don't identify, or the thoughts won't creep up, right? Once you look at the trees, like, you don't think like, oh, how beautiful the tree is, the tree color, or the time you had, you plucked something from the tree. All these thoughts pop up, different thoughts pop up when you look at any object. But what you're trying to do here is actually you're not trying to consume anything. So the best thing to do is look at something where the consumption is less. And once you practice this technique of not consuming from the object that you see, you can actually stop the process of creating thoughts. And then you go into a different dimension. When you go into a different dimension, the way you look at things is entirely different. And what's the purpose of all this? What's the purpose of going into a different dimension? First of all, it's a different experience. And second of all, the important thing is your brain is non-stop working and rippling up the thoughts, which consumes a lot of your energy, which consumes a lot of the energy, and which also kind of makes your energy down. So in order for you to energize, or in order for you to feel pumped up, and most of the times the anxiety and the depression, everything is created from this thought process. But if you learn this technique of going into a different dimension, it's really helpful to come out of any scenario that you're facing. Maybe it's fear, maybe it's anxiety, maybe it's depression, maybe it's something to do with your friends, family, some little trouble that you have. If you practice this technique of looking at an object and stopping your thought process and not identifying the object with the previous memories or the future memories, just to stare at it and just feel it, you enter into a different dimension. And when you enter into a different dimension, it's a different experience for different people. And once you enter that dimension, there are more chances that you're going to enter into a deeper dimension too. And the process goes on. So in today's video, I just want to say about how to enter into a different dimension. So the way you enter into a different dimension is you look at the object, you look at any object, and you don't ripple up your thoughts, or you don't identify that object, or you don't go into the past or the future with ripple up thoughts. You just look at it and try to feel it, and try to not to go into any thought process of your previous memories or the memories that pop up in the future. So if you practice it, looking at an object and just feel it and not creating a thought process, you can enter into a different dimension. Hopefully this video helped you, and have a blessed day.